Dying Light 2 definitely had its flaws at launch, and it still has many flaws today, but it has one of the most impressive glow-ups I've seen in gaming history. And now since Dying Light the Beast is out with a much stronger launch than Dying Light 2 could ever hope to have, a lot of the reason being because the hype was built on the hate of this game. Today we're going to be talking about 10 different things that Dying Light 2 did better than Dying Light the Beast. Just to clarify, we are not comparing the launch version of Dying Light 2, and this is all just my opinion. The parkour in Dying Light 2 without a doubt is more complex than Dying Light the Beast and significantly more advanced. Dying Light the Beast basically has Dying Light 2's parkour, just without the high jumps and without a lot of the agility that Aiden has in the second game. The parkour in the Beast is a lot more grounded and realistic, and I understand why people might like the parkour in the Beast more because it is a bit easier, and Dying Light 2 has a much higher skill ceiling and is a much tighter learning curve than it was to go from Dying Light 1 to Dying Light the Beast. There are some gimmicks like the landing bag, especially when I can fall from the same distance and save myself with active landing. I do think Dying Light the Beast has some extremely smooth parkour and is pretty great, and it just feels like Dying Light 2 parkour just without the super high jumps and without the speed and the momentum that you can just gain super quickly with Aiden. But it's seriously just a toned down version of Dying Light 2's parkour, and I mean, you can't even disagree with it. That's the only difference, is that it's toned down and it's not as advanced, and the skill ceiling is not nearly as high. It's still extremely smooth, but it definitely caters to a much simpler playstyle. Now I bet 9 out of every 10 Dying Light players will think that Dying Light 2 has a better dynamic parkour soundtrack. The way the soundtrack picks up, the more momentum you get when you're free running, or the way the beat drops and you land a big jump. The way the music hollows out when you're falling, or when it gets muffled when you're in a dark zone. Absolute peak. It's a shame that Dying Light the Beast doesn't have a dynamic parkour soundtrack of its own. Another one that most people will agree with is the dark zones. They were done significantly better in Dying Light 2, even from launch. Like the Forsaken Stores, the Dark Hollows, the GRE Hospitals, even though they all looked pretty similar, they all were a bit more dangerous, and they had more loot than they do in Dying Light the Beast. That's not really what I'm talking about though, more so how the volatiles would go into these dark zones in daytime, so you'd have to go out into the night and explore these dark zones unless you wanted to fight the volatiles, which at lower levels is not very possible. Or even in New Game Plus, the volatiles are still very dangerous, especially when they're stacked like 4 or 5 deep inside these super small stores. In Dying Light the Beast, outside of giving you double XP for nighttime activities, there's no real reason or benefits to going outside. In Dying Light 2, there are many more positives and dynamic activities than there are in Dying Light the Beast for nighttime. We will talk more on that later, but basically nighttime exploration is way more essential in Dying Light 2 because a lot of the crafting materials can only be found in early game in these Forsaken Stores and Dark Hollows. And in Dying Light the Beast, the only special effect that there are inside these stores are the screamers and virals occasionally, and that's it. This one is going to be pretty controversial. The specialist roles in Dying Light 2, there was 4 main ones. We had the brawler, which specialized in like one-handed weapons. Then we had the tank that specialized in damage resistance and two-handed heavy weapons like swords, long axes, and polearms, and even scythes. The next 2 aren't very popular, but we do got the medic class. It allowed more health regeneration and higher healing effectiveness. And then we had the archer or the ranger, which gave you better stamina regeneration with bows and more damage with ranged weapons. I don't know if it includes firearms, but I know it includes the bows and crossbows, and it also benefited stealth. Here's a quick rundown on all the benefits that I could think of that come with these 4 different classes, but a lot of people didn't like this system. I think it's because Dying Light 1 was more of a simple game, and this is like an RPG style armor mechanic, and I really like it personally, but the people that I see hating on it are usually people that just can't get a grasp on what all these numbers mean. No offense to you guys who don't like it. The Beast has armor, but they don't have hardly any benefits, and the max percentage for buffs is usually 5%, so the buffs are so minimal that you hardly even notice the difference. That brings us to our number 5 spot. The weapon charm and armor buffs are significantly higher in Dying Light 2, and sometimes they're a bit overpowered, I will admit, but if you play on hard or nightmare difficulty, it does make the game feel a lot more balanced, and it does allow you to use those buffs to greater extent, and it adds significantly more diversity because there's different weapons that apply to different armor pieces, and you won't be playing the same as somebody who's using tank armor if you're using brawler armor. And it lets you do things differently, and it gives you more replayability. And Dying Light the Beast has more of a linear play style. Everybody uses the same things. There's pretty much no diversity, and you're forced to be a jack of all trades. Now, I got to explain what I mean by map layout. I don't mean attention to detail. I don't mean graphics. I don't mean anything but how things are placed. This map is much easier to traverse, especially with parkour. Unlike Dying Light the Beast, it is open in a lot of areas, and I understand that a portion of it is supposed to be driven in with a truck, which is a cool gimmick, but it's really not necessary, and I didn't even like that in Dying Light the Following. It just didn't, I mean, the game's a parkour game with zombies. I mean, you don't really need a vehicle. It is a cool thing they added in Dying Light the Beast. They even implemented it into some missions, which was cool. And it didn't take away the focus from the parkour too much. But if you're going to be parkouring and running around the map for 90% of the game, I would rather the map be full of a bunch of buildings like it is in Dying Light 2, and easier to traverse and more fun. Dying Light the Beast might have a more terrifying night, but Dying Light 2 has way more nighttime events and way more opportunities to gain XP, and the only one that I've noticed or seen in Dying Light the Beast is the Bolter Chase, and it does mention volatile hives here and there, but I personally have never seen them yet. I don't know why that event just hasn't spawned in for me yet. But Dying Light 2 does have volatile hives, but it does also have special infected encounters, which can be chargers, banshees, volatiles, goons, or demolishers. Man, I was struggling to remember all the infected types for a second. But basically, after you kill them and loot them, you can get weapons and a ton of XP and mutation samples, which is a currency in Dying Light 2. And it's usually pretty challenging, especially if you start to attract volatiles. Then it'll start a chase, and then it's basically impossible, especially if you're fighting like a demolisher. But we also got GRE aberrations and anomalies, which the GRE anomalies give you inhibitors, which is a permanent source of like experience points, and the aberrations just spawn in those anomalies again for some extra rewards, such as pilgrim chests. And the volatile hives are usually in dark hollows full of volatiles, and just one volatile that's stuck to the ground like that, and they have a ton of crafting resources and valuable loot. Number 8, we got the grapple hook, which is pretty much the same in Dying Light the Beast, aside from the fact that you use significantly less stamina when using the grapple hook in Dying Light 2, and it behaves a little bit differently. The way you boost yourself with the grapple hook in Dying Light the Beast, you gotta hold the button and then let it go, which doesn't work very consistently and usually doesn't give you that boost you need unless you spam it. But in Dying Light 2, what you gotta do is just hold it and then press it again to use the boost. And it's just the controls are a lot more consistent and simple by giving you more control on how you can use your grapple hook. And Dying Light the Beast doesn't make it very easy to swing like this, mostly because the buildings ain't tall enough, and the only way you can really do it is on the trees. And the trees have an iffy hitbox, but maybe I just haven't gotten the hang of it yet. There are multiple things that you can craft in Dying Light 2 that you can't craft in Dying Light the Beast, such as the UV bar, which I very much like in Dying Light 2, but in Dying Light the Beast it is a very rare resource. But in Dying Light 2, all the weapon blueprints can be upgraded 6 or 7 times. In Dying Light the Beast, you can upgrade them less times, but you do get a much more significant damage boost. But there are specific items like the lockpick and the UV bar that you can upgrade that you cannot upgrade in Dying Light the Beast. Now, I'd very much appreciate it if they let you upgrade the lockpicks in the future, because I suck at lockpicking in Dying Light the Beast. The last thing on the list that we got is the parkour and combat challenges, which completely surprised me that they aren't in Dying Light the Beast, because it was a staple in the first game and the second game, and they're just completely covering the map in Dying Light 2. There's so many different parkour challenges and combat challenges, and now even firearm challenges, and they were such a good way to level up your parkour or combat skill level. and now since it's been removed, there's no good way to level up that stuff in early game. But I guess since most of the skills are already unlocked in Dying Light the Beast, there's no real reason for it, and there's no dedicated XP for combat or parkour in Dying Light the Beast. There's just one general level that you have where you unlock skill points to put towards different parkour and combat skill points, not just one or the other. The only challenges they got in Dying Light the Beast are the ones where you race your truck, which is kind of cool if it's the theme, but I mean, I do miss the parkour challenges and the combat challenges. Well, that's it for our top 10 list, and I know a lot of you guys are going to disagree with me since so many of you guys love to hate on Dying Light 2. That's just how it is, I understand. But Dying Light the Beast, I do think is a much better game than Dying Light 2 was at launch, and I do think it's an overall better experience in general. I would recommend people play Dying Light the Beast over Dying Light 2 most of the time, but Dying Light 2 is not to be slept on, especially after all the updates Techland has released for it. And I'm very excited for the future of Dying Light the Beast because Techland is going to support this game more than Dying Light 2 without a doubt, since it's pulling in so much more money and so much more attention, and it deserves it, and I can't wait to see how much it changes and improves. But as always, thank you guys for watching this video, and I appreciate you all who leave a like and just for watching the video. But if you guys want more videos like this in the future for different games or more Dying Light videos, go ahead and subscribe, and until next time.